Hello everyone, welcome to the FOGS Queenslander Podcast preview of Origin 3. I'm Mark Braybrook and joining me, Wally Lewis, Trevor Gillmeister and Matt Gillett. Gentlemen, welcome. Always exciting leading into an Origin decider, but before we get into the game, we must pass on our condolences to Cam Munster and his family on the sudden passing of his father, Steve. As exciting as an Origin decider is, we sort of get a reminder of how irrelevant it really is as well.
Yeah, it's, on behalf of the FOGS, we'd love to give our best to Cameron and his family. So I think Billy said it for all of us. It was, said it so graciously. But, yeah, you're right. And when you lose a parent, it's always hard, mate. So, and obviously, we've all been through it. So, good luck to Cam.
Yeah, the highs of captaining his state 2 weeks ago, winning the FOGS Dick Tosser-Turner medal by playing 20 games and now having to try and regroup and get his mind around, one of the biggest games of his career. Our thoughts are with him, Gillo.
Definitely are, mate. Very tough time for himself and his family, and like Gilly said, we've gone through it ourselves here, so we do know and understand what he's going through, and knowing Cam and he's come back into camp, and I'm looking forward to seeing him run out there again and in this decider, and just to we know what kind of player he is, but there'll be a lot of emotion behind this game for him.
I'm sure he'll be playing with a little bit of extra determination in this gun. He'll want to farewell his dad in the best possible way. And he's a player that's had some tough times previously in his lifetime, but when it comes to your family, that's as close as you'll ever get, and he'll certainly want to be able to enjoy it in what's been a very difficult week.
And this is when your teammates become really important in this environment too, isn't it? And, the guys around him have to take on a little bit of extra responsibility, I would have thought.
Oh, you think so? Obviously, but Cam, once he gets out in the field, I think, obviously he's not, 99% he'll be focused on playing footy. So it'd probably be a bit of a relief for him to get on the field, I'd suspect.
Take his mind off
exactly
what's
right.
going on around him.
Yeah, because I think obviously the players would be thinking about him. So he's got to put the players at ease as well, and just say, listen, boys, I'm fine. There's no dramas, I'll sort it out. So you just focus on your own game.
Changes in Game 2 were pretty good, with Queensland winning in Perth. Changes again in Game 3 because of injury and the return of Josh Papalii. But let's go through it, gentlemen. First of all, the decision to play Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow at fullback ahead of Reece Walsh. There is some sort of murmurings that may change, but was that the way you would have gone, with the hammer at fullback and moving Val to the centres and bringing Gemma Shibasaki into the side?
I mean, yeah, I can see the fors and against, for a lot of it. I think the hammer's perfect at fullback, to be honest. And Reece Walsh looks like he's got a couple of injuries at the moment. So if he plays and he's get injured in the first 5 minutes, you're down a player, aren't you? So the hammer's fit and firing, ready to go. And the one thing I love about the hammer at fullback, he's got no choice. He's involved. He's a bit casual sometimes, and with the Dolphins, but he's at fullback with the Dolphins all the time. When he's in the centres, he's just cruises a little bit, But I think at fullback, it's the best position for him.
Yeah, right side and left side for centres and wingers.
Yeah.
As a fullback, you can cruise wherever you want to go, and
no excuse as well, is it?
No, I haven't seen him attack previously. He's got the thrill, the determination, the will to win, everything about him. He puts himself in the right place at the right time, and he's got some of the most impressive attacking skills that we've seen in Origin football, and to be able to produce them whenever he wants and wherever he wants, I think that's a real bonus for Queensland.
Well, the thing is too, if we make a half break, you'd think it's nearly try time, isn't it?
Time, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Not catching him.
Yeah, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I reckon. I think he'll slot in there quite easily. The way we played, especially that first half in Game 2 over in Perth, we'll try and knock down that front door, and having him there to be around that footy is quite dangerous. And no doubt New South Wales will be doing their homework on trying to, limit his touches. But again, we're knocking down that middle third of the parking game too. So I'm expecting no different when we, rock up in Sydney to do the same job.
Well, he's certainly in form. 4 tries in his last game. You can't argue that he's not in form. There are some arguments that, making multiple changes to replace one player can be difficult. But my counter to that could well be that, Hammer plays fullback for the Dolphins. Matt Shibasaki plays centre. Val Holmes, I think, is a great winger.
Can play anywhere, really.
Whereas in game 2, we had players playing out of position a little bit. So do you see that the changes, while there are many, are not necessarily big changes because players are playing relatively in their positions?
Well, I like Val in the centres,
Do you?
but he can play wing as well, and there's a train of thought that these days too as well. They can swap around a little bit if need be. Go from wing to centre, so because they're interchangeable and they're really great outside backs. Mate, they can play anywhere. Fullback, centre, wing. So it's not a real issue. But you're right though with the Hammer. He's a fullback. Predominantly a fullback, isn't he?
Yeah, and I just think that you have a look at our centres, Toya and Shibasaki. They don't have a whole pile of experience playing there. By having Fido there, he's going to be able to inject himself wherever he wants on either side and be able to assist them. I think it'll be a big bonus for them.
I think when you're younger, when you're making your debut or something like that, and if they put you in a different position, that could be a little bit daunting for you. But when you get a bit older and you've been around the traps a bit, and I think because I can imagine if someone said to you, if you're a centre and they said, "Oh, mate, we're going to put you on the wing," and you've never played on the wing, that'd be a different story.
Yeah. The point that Wally made about the inexperience of the centres, Matt Shibasaki, everyone has a story in Origin. I mean, this is one of the more remarkable ones. But is there any concern with a debutant who's on a train and trial contract at the start of the year with the Brisbane Broncos coming into play in an Origin decider alongside a centre partner who is playing his 3rd Origin game in his first year in the NRL up against Stephen Crichton and Latrell Mitchell? Is that a big ask?
I think, Gams, he's a big body, right? So he's, he's improved himself at club level there with the Broncos, and he's from where he was with his game and his style of footy to where he is now is, leaps and bounds to show what he's capable of, and that's he's rewarded with getting selected for Queensland. There's a reason that his name's been put forward, and he'll debut on Wednesday night. But mate, he'd be that excited to go out there and do his job, and that's all he has to do. He has to do his job, what he's continued to do at Broncos, and not try and be someone else. It's about what he can bring to that footy team and keep it quite basic. I'm sure Billy would have sat down with him and instilled that belief with him and why he got picked and what he needs to be doing out in the paddock. But mate, he's there for a reason. He's a bigger body. I think he can really, do his job on Wednesday night. And then same with Pups. Pups has obviously been there. Goes out there, starts that game, empties his tank with that first 15 minutes or so, and gets ready to fire.
He's playing great, isn't he, for the Raiders?
Are you ever retired from Origin? Until you can't play anymore, really?
Well, yeah.
He's not coming back from England, but he's coming back from Canberra. Well, it's still a pretty big effort. And what would it be like for the other players around when he walks into camp?
I think it'd be fantastic, wouldn't it?
That's a key too, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's such a positive person. He's a great teammate.
Good leader.
Yeah, and a bloke that can kind of make light of things, but then when he switches on, he's on. You go, oh, okay, right, he's ready to play, this bloke. So we better pull our finger out here as well.
And the way that he's led by example has been fantastic this year. Love watching every one of his games, and you can just see that he's full of confidence. He's probably the realisation that the age is a direct indication as to how much experience that you've got, and he's certainly been able to do that quite successfully so far this season, and to be able to do it at the highest level will certainly inspire him for this game.
How many tries do you reckon he's
in Origin?
No, for the Raiders, like when they do it I'm either going to go short to the front row, or I'm going to go out the back, and 5 metres off the line.
Very hard to
Mate,
stop.
he
Yeah,
can't stop.
Well, he
Good
did.
luck
They
trying
did
to
that
stop
in
him.
in his record
got two.
breaking
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
Down in Canberra.
Yeah.
So,
Mate, good luck trying to stop him close to the line like that.
But once again, like in most games of football, no matter what level you're playing at, that's that front row battle that's going to set it up. And so he and Tino up against Payne Haas and Max King, they've got a really big job to establish something in that first 15 to 20. That the key?
It definitely is. Yeah, I think for Pups, it's going to be his last game in that jersey. So like Gilly said, he does have a presence, and coming into that side, and he's not going to want to let down, Billy. He's obviously picked the phone call up and said, "Oh, yeah, mate, I can do the job for you." So I'm very excited about that battle up the middle third there. But yeah, for our boys, again, that first start is gonna, that first 15 is really where we're gonna win it.
Yeah, it's crucial that our forwards get off to a good start like they did in the second game. Because it's kind of, I'm looking so much looking forward to it, because I think it's going to be a fair dinkum bash up. It's got to, obviously there, Laurie Daly's be saying, they got the jump on you blokes, in the first 15, 20 minutes, over there, so you need to come out firing. So they'll come out, with guns blazing. So, mate, I'm looking forward to the game so much.
Well, I've read or heard that New South Wales are changing their preparation, so to speak, a little bit by that long walk they make from the centre of excellence, from the other side of the ground through the tunnel and all that. So it was almost like walking from Suncorp Stadium into King George Square. That's how long the walk was. They're shortening that, I believe, to make sure.
Well, they're getting a bit tired, were they?
Well, I can't talk, but I'm sure you blokes know what it's like when you're walking down that tunnel wanting to get out on the field. It's long enough when it might be 50 metres from the dressing room to the ground, but when it's over nearly a K or whatever it may be, it seems a little bit ridiculous. So that's one change they're going to make New South Wales. Whether that makes any difference remains to be seen. Is there a difference though, gentlemen, in the lead up to Origin 3 in camp as opposed to the excitement of Origin 1? The lead up to Origin 2, where you either may be playing to win the series or hang in the series, as opposed to coming into Game 3. Explain what it's like in the lead up to the different Origins, and particularly Game 3, when it's all on the line.
Oh, well, I think that when it's all on the line, everything you do is about perfection. You perfect your skills, you perfect your game plan, you perfect the execution of that game plan in virtually every session that you have working together. The meetings that you have, they're probably a little bit more frequent, particularly for the 3 or 4 guys that are the backbone of the side in planning and the calling of what play is put on which part of the field and why. And I think that when you particularly with the younger guys that don't have so much experience, if the more experienced guys can take control and make the execution of that so simple, the better it is for the team as it is, because it can be a pretty tough challenge that lie ahead in a series decider, and you really don't need to add the pressure in an area where it's not all that much a comfortable issue.
My first year, 87, when we lost the first game at Lang Park, and Mark McGaw scored a try right in the death, I think, and
just inside the dead ball line.
It wasn't a try, but anyway. And that, actually, I remember
and the way he celebrated.
I remember actually Wayne's.
Yep. The only time we ever saw him blow up.
Yeah.
He got up, and I remember because he said, "Oh no, oh no." He said, "Oh no," twice.
Because he's actually coaching in that arena, the Origin arena, was on the line, wasn't it? Because they lost a few games before that, and but we come back and beat them in Sydney, didn't we? And then we come back to Lang Park and we won in Lang Park. But so it is. Little bit daunting, but it's a great feeling, and the challenge is fantastic. I thought it was, how lucky am I to be in a decider my first time. You don't want to let anyone down, so you don't want to be the weak link in the chain, So
they're the games you dream about.
Oh yeah, 100% right. Yeah.
You fear defeat,
Yeah.
but you love the challenge that's at hand, and you get out there and you just feel good. You think, this is what I'm playing this game for.
And if I'm correct, it was 10-8 at half time, and Wayne said, if that and Fatty and he said it, and everyone said it. The older blokes all said it. Said, if that ain't score, we win. So that score ended up 10-8.
Yeah, and there were guys at the end of the game laughing and saying, "We're real smart, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're leading. They don't score."
Yeah.
Well, we understood what the humour was about, but it was the challenge that it immediately directed for the players.
It was a bash up in the second half. Fantastic.
Well, it was, Gilly. It was fun. It was one of the best 40 minutes of football that I ever enjoyed in Origin. And the amount of, have a look at these things, they're standing up already. The amount of conversation that went on between the players to inspire each other was quite remarkable. And at the end of the game, we used to celebrate any win. But at the end of that game, we went to town. It was something else, and you'd remember all of the things that happened throughout the course of the game, and how he did things where he busted his butt to stop a challenge that came from their biggest ball carrier a metre out from the line, sat him on his ass, put him backwards, and they were the things that made us feel so good about being part of a team that had so much respect for each other and had so much determination to win the game.
I remember we played Tuesday nights, didn't we? And we're at the
Travelodge?
Yeah, Travelodge. Yeah. And we're in the function room, and I was playing at the Roosters, and the Panasonic Cup was still on. So the Roosters
not the next night.
Yeah. So the Roosters were still in the Panasonic Cup, right?
You didn't play, did you?
Yeah. And so I went. So I've had 2 beers. I said, I'm trying to go to bed, and him and Greg Dowling and says, "Where you going?" So I had to sit there.
You shan't be going to that place that you're thinking about going to.
He made all the dignitaries left and stuff like that, and so he made sure the whole team was there, and we're all sitting in the room having beers together, and that every time I got up to go to the toilet, Greg Dowling would go, "Where you going?" I'd say, oh yeah. So I had to play. I told, and Arthur was my coach at the Roosters, so he knows all about it. So, and he went, "Big night," and I went, "Yeah." He said, "Right, just play the first 20 or 30 for me."
Because they're quarters to those
exactly. Exactly. Yeah, 20. Play the first 20, and he said, "How you feeling?" I said, "Yeah, actually, I'm starting to feel all right now. So get the soreness out and stuff." And he went, "Oh, okay, just play that one." Anyway, played the whole game. Yeah. So it was it, but yeah, it was. I was on such a high as well, because being my first Origin, lucky to play with these blokes and to win, as well. I would have played 5 games if I had to.
What about you, Matt?
Mate, I think, for this, game 3 decided, I think for the boys and, their focus and, just got to go down there, go through their normal preparation and what they do for any other game, keep it nice and simple, not trying to change up anything. But, it's going to be, I feel it's going to be quite a fierce battle out there on the field. And like these gents just mentioned, it's about showing up for your mate and giving it all and, competing on every little play, putting yourself in the picture and not letting your teammate down beside you. So it's going to be massive. Very much looking forward to that battle and, hopefully this ref can let it flow a bit more than he has been doing and just, get it back to that, grind style of footy and let the boys sort it out there on the paddock.
And New South Wales deserve to be favourites on paper.
Well, they're going to be better.
Yeah. On paper, there's no doubt about it. But how many times, has that been the case?
Yeah. Fair few.
It's just a couple. Yeah.
No,
I played 31 games and we weren't favourites for one of them. And we used to win, 8 games straight, and you'd be thinking, surely we're going to be favourites from the next one. No, never were.
I was at Accor Stadium on Friday night for the Broncos and Bulldogs, and I must say the playing surface just looked an absolute treat. It looked fantastic. Yeah. And the forecast for Wednesday is sunny and 18. So all the ingredients are there for a terrific game. From game 1 to there was an improvement in game 2 for Queensland. What do they need to improve on, or how? What are the areas that are the key for Queensland to win game 3? Do you think?
I'd like to see us do just a little bit more from dummy half. Just creating just a little variation. Not just one up as well. Just nothing too drastic, but just a little tinkering with our dummy half. I noticed compared to the first game, Harry Grant ran a lot more in that second half. So when Harry Grant's running, we're a dangerous team. So the first game they shut him down pretty good. So I just like to see us create a little bit, variation in our dummy halves work and bring the big fellas onto the ball a little bit, and just little twist plays and pick up someone on the other side of the ruck, and the hammers hovering around there in the middle, and they're going to panic a little bit, stuff like that. So anyway, nothing drastic, but just a variation.
Yeah, I'd like to see them alter the game a little bit, bring the kicking game in sometimes on the third tackle. Because I've noticed every time they get a fullback who stands 5 metres behind the line, he won't move till the fourth tackle. If you can kick on the earlier tackles, you're going to pick up an extra 30 or 40 metres and put the pressure on them. And it's quite remarkable how players that are used to sprinting up into the line, when they find that that's being battered by a kicking game from the opposition, how they tend to alter that. They think, I'm not running up quite as quickly as I'm going to tackle a bloke. I won't miss him.
Run back 50 metres.
Because
it's like running uphill.
They sprint up 10, and then they've got to put the handbrake on, do a Yui, and sprint back to cart the first 2 or 3 plays of the next set of 6 that they're going to be there for. They will be starting. It's quite remarkable how that changes.
Well, Cam Smith used to do that with new blokes playing, didn't he? All the time, and they all knew it. Like
Wally was saying there, he'd identify, whoever the fullback was, they might kick chase and make those first 2 tackles. So he's thinking, they're a bit fatigued. We know we get to our 30 or 40 metre line, and he'll just punt it long, and you don't question the skipper like that. You just get on your bike and go down, and then you turn your defence into attack. And I think, like you both mentioned there, I think if we can do that and be ruthless with it and do it for the full 80 minutes and not go away from it, and let's make them tap out first, and then we can really get those rewards off the back of it.
Yeah, especially a kick from dummy half. Everyone's on side, aren't they? And away you go. And you see the dummy half kick it, and Harry Grant does it a fair bit with Melbourne as well. So it's not new to him. So I think what the boys just said, it was a great idea.
Kick early, and I mean Dylan Edwards. I'm not being disrespectful, but if he was back there, or Latrell Mitchell, you'd probably expect that Mitchell might gain a little bit more territory, whereas Dylan's certainly he's a very safe player.
Great player,
wonderfully safe player. But that probably opens up the opportunity to make sure the kicking game is put into place early.
The other thing I just saying too is, got to stop Yo, right? He's the go-to man, right? He's the alpha male. He's the alpha male, mate. And work with him in Australia, and
wonderful player.
Yeah, and what he's done in Origin, he's ball playing, but he's dummy and running, right? So I spoke to him the other day, a couple of them up there, but I'd put Ruben Cotter or Harry, or whoever they deem, someone to cut his legs out on him every time. He needs to go on the ground, mate. He's 6'4", 6'5", and he's a big man, right? So you need to chop his legs out. Chop his legs out, so he's got to get off the ground. He's the number one bloke they got to shut down, I reckon.
Even more than Nathan Cleary?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, Nathan he's carrying an injury or two, Nathan.
Yeah.
I'm sure that he'll still play wonderfully, but there'll be a little bit of responsibility cast upon the shoulders of others in the team.
Mate, he'll still be a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
We don't want him being an 8 or a 9 or
that's right.
And you can't expect him to miss goals like they've missed in the first 2 games either. You think that'll improve.
But Yo's the one they got to stop.
He's the key. Righto, gentlemen. Well, we did pretty well in game 2 with your predictions with a man of the match. What are your thoughts for game number 3?
Where
do we go? a Harry Grant style? Can Cam
I think
do
I'm
it
going to
again?
go.
Will
Yeah,
be Tommy
I'm
Dearden?
going to back Cam Munster. Obviously
back to back.
and then he's going to collect the Wally Lewis medal at the end as well. But I think the situation that Cam's in, and it's going to be very emotional for him. And like Gilly mentioned before, it's going to be coming back into camp, being around the boys, and he's just he's going to fire. I think it's been a big week, and obviously he's going to want to come back into camp and prove himself. But I'm looking for him to be involved, be everywhere, and just have one of those games that we know Cam Munster can do.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I was going to suggest Cam too, but I'll go a different one. Yeah. I'm gonna out of left field, because I think he's back in his rightful. I think the hammer might have at least one out of the box, because we've seen him play really good footy before.
Someone different to Cam Munster or Harry Grant that we've mentioned the first two games.
Exactly right.
But he doesn't have the side of, I see what you're saying, Gilly.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the style of play which what he's going to do every time he gets the ball.
No.
He is different.
He don't know.
I think that he doesn't know what he's going to do when he gets the ball, but he'll think of something just by the first time he looks up. He'll assess what the defensive line chasing through the kick will look like, and he'll go from there. And he's quite a remarkable player. And to also,
what would you have done if you were that quick on the field? It'd be good, wouldn't it?
I've never been in that category ever before.
What about that try you scored? Did set it up for you.
What about that?
Well, you run 40, didn't you?
40 metres.
Yeah.
It felt like I'd run 4 marathons.
Gillett just did the Gold Coast.
But I've got to say, Gilly set it up for me, as I said.
Yeah, but
Chop someone in half, Gilly. Yep.
Actually, I think it was Brad Clyde, and the ball come out, and Hagues picked it up, didn't he?
Yeah.
Michael Hagan picked it up and passed on to Wally. Do your best,
job.
Wally.
Yeah. You got there.
You run 40, didn't you? Was it 40?
It was. Actually, it's the longest I've ever run in my life.
Into the, I think it was the southwestern corner.
Yeah, it is.
of
It was
footies.
too.
Yeah.
He dummied to 5 people who weren't there. They all fell for it, didn't they?
That was the best part. Yeah, we got to look at it.
Gary
and
Jack,
I said to him, no, I had support on the inside, and I looked, there was no one. I was dummying, but the New South Wales blokes took it.
Yeah, they did.
I'll just follow where the ball's going.
yeah.
Well, that'll do, mate.
Right, so we've got a Cam, we've got a hammer.
Yep.
And what about you, Wal?
Oh,
Are you going to stay with Harry Grant? Or Cam?
I'll go Harry Grant.
Righto. Yeah, I knew it'd be one of those two.
Yeah,
He's president of the fan club, staying there.
I love Harry Grant too. He was the one who, especially that first half, got us. All the big boys onto the ball, didn't he? You know what I mean?
He's improved from game 1 to 2.
Right.
The hammies behind him.
Yes,
and
it looks like he's fully fit now too. It looked like he had a little injury, I think, coming in the first game.
Well,
he was underdone with his
hamstring.
Hamstring, sorry.
Played one game before Origin. So
there's a couple of boys who were underdone.
Yeah.
Lindsay Collins was underdone as well. There's a couple of other blokes.
Reuben Cotter and Kurt Capewell.
Okay.
They're going to need to really increase their workload. Fantastic workers. Love watching them play. Yeah. They're just tireless, but they're going to need to be it. And I think if that's the case, that they can get through the work that's going to be required to make time and space for our ball carriers.
That was a masterstroke, wasn't it? Bringing Capewell in.
Capes,
He
an Origin player.
He played well, and he's playing great for the Warriors as well. Yeah. So I mean, why is he not at the Broncos still?
Well, that could be another episode.
That was a
for
good
us,
move, wasn't it?
That could be another episode. Well, gentlemen, game 3, it's always a cracking game, but particularly when it's a decider. Enjoy the game. Wally, you got your suit pressed. Are you presenting your medal on Wednesday night?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. You're ready to go?
Making the medal presentation, always a proud moment.
Yeah.
Unless you're handing it to the New South Wales.
You'll be smiling anyway.
Yeah,
Well, you'll be smiling. We'll be back on Thursday with our review of Origin number 3. We'll see whether we've got smiles on the faces or whether or not it's a quick 3-minute wrap and we're out of here. But anyway, enjoy the game on Wednesday night. We'll catch you for our review on Thursday. On behalf of Wally Lewis, Trevor Gillmeister, Matt Gillett, I'm Mark Braybrook. It's goodbye for now. Thanks for watching this episode of the FOGS Queenslander Podcast. If there's a FOG you want to hear from, leave a comment to let us know. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss any of our videos.